This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The Pilots have officially gotten their swagger back. This is Vito Chirco from the Detroit Sports Podcast Network, filing this post-game wrap-up from Ford Field after a Warren De La Salle 41-6 victory over Livonia Franklin in the Division II state championship game. De La Salle making its first appearance in the state title game since 2014 when it last won under a former head coach and the now retired Paul Verska. Mike Giannone is the new face on the sidelines at De La Salle, and when I say new, relatively new, in his second year on the job, he won back-to-back state titles at Macomb, Dakota, a public school, and now has won at Warren De La Salle, winning at both a public school and a private school. And when he won his second state title at Dakota, he became the first coach in Macomb County to win multiple state titles, still holds that record of having multiple state titles in Macomb County and being the only coach to have done so. And now he has added a third state title to his resume with the victory on Friday. De La Salle dominated from the very, very start, and the scoring started with a fumble recovery by De La Salle. They found the end zone, and De La Salle never looked back. Made quite the incredible run after being picked last in the Catholic League Central Division by many, many pundits out there, and lost the first game, opening week of the regular season, got blown out against Lowell in the Prep Kickoff Classic at their home stadium of Tom Adams Field on the campus of Wayne State University, and they really picked it up after that, beating Granville, Birmingham Brother Rice, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, CC to end the season in back-to-back weeks. So many high-quality wins that they recorded in the regular season on their way to the postseason, and beat a lot of good teams on their way to the state finals, and they capped it off with a state title, finishing 12-2 on the season. I had the great opportunity to record some post-game interviews with the head man at Warren De La Salle, Mike Giannone, and also with the senior quarterback, Luke Pfromm. And Luke, by the way, finished 10 of 12 for 207 passing yards and 2 passing TDs to end a great senior season for himself. And I talked with Giannone first, and then I talked to the aforementioned Luke Pfromm. And here are those interviews. Congratulations, Coach, with Mike Giannone from Warren De La Salle. What is the feeling for you right now, Coach?
Well, it's a great feeling. You know, it's a little bit of relief, a little bit of, solitude. And I'm just extremely happy for the boys that have been involved that stuck with us, because it was a tough road for a while. And now they just continue to believe, which I appreciate that.
How about winning at a public school, now at a private school? What does that mean to you that you were able to pull it off at Dakota twice and now at De La Salle once, in your second year on the job at Warren De La Salle? Yeah,
I don't know what it means to, it's a great honor to be part of this group, because our administration, our De La Salle community has been behind me from, I would say day one, and they stuck with us. And I just think that, the honor itself, just being involved, this is a great team. These guys were, not individually, not all great players, but great teammates, and the chemistry was really good.
What do you think this state title means to the Warren De La Salle community and all of its fans, its alums?
Well, I think it means that, if you band a group of brothers together, it's very hard to pull them apart, because being an all-boys school and the love that these guys have for each other is second to none. So when you see that, and we talk about builders of boys, makers of men, I think it really came true, because we started with a bunch of boys, young boys, and they turned into really fine young men.
I want to give you a second to describe what this says about your seniors, these graduating guys, to win it. What do you think it means to them, and what does it say about them?
Well, I think anytime you win a title, you have to have great senior leadership. From the start, our captains, Branden and Sergio Gasparoni, they were right on from day one when we announced that they were captains, and then bringing all the other seniors along with them. It was a tough road to do that, but they sold it to them, and I thought they did a really good job, and they just kind of echoed my thoughts throughout the entire season. And what it means to them is, it's just they just finalize what we really believe. We kept on saying, you're not good until we tell you. Well, they're pretty good.
Absolutely really good. And really quick, how would you describe the season that Luke Pfromm had for you at quarterback?
Well, it was, he had a really good season. He had great leadership, but I think, he wasn't playing for himself. He was playing for the guys on the team, and I think the guys on the team were playing for him as well. So when you put those together and those two factors, you get a leader that's your quarterback, a guy that's playing for each other. It's really second to none.
Well, with Luke Pfromm, state champion now, what does that mean to you to be able to say that you are a state champion, Luke?
It means a lot. I've been up on the varsity level on basketball since I was a freshman, and obviously I sat out my junior year, but I was up there as a sophomore for football, and just to see the heartbreak of the seniors when you lose, it's just something I did not want to go through. So just happy to say that me and my teammates today are having happy tears, not sad tears.
After seeing that tough loss to Lowell in week 1, I was doubting you guys. A lot of people were. You know it. Everybody was, right? So when did you know that you had a chance to win it all, to make this deep run, and to actually capture the state championship, Luke?
I mean, obviously we bounced back strong against Granville, and, beat them their home opener. They had a huge stadium. It was filled up. We went out there under the lights and got the job done and kind of started to bring everyone together. And the next week, most people, I know, talk about the Granville week, but the week after that was a rivalry game against Brother Rice. And that's for me and my teammates, that's the biggest game of the year is Brother Rice, So we really got together for that one, and I think that's when we came together.
Who were the guys that convinced you to play football this year, Luke?
Branden Madigan and Jake Bellamente. Branden, we lost to Troy in the playoffs for basketball, and the next day, I think it might even been that day, that night, Branden called me and said, we want you to play, we need you to play, and I think that was a Friday night, and Saturday morning or Sunday morning, we were at the field, I was throwing to him, and just getting ready.
How do you feel about that decision now?
Great. Obviously, the result speaks for itself, but just, we get the ring and everything, but the most special thing to me is having this experience with my brothers.
Can you start thinking about basketball at all yet?
Right now, I don't. Not right now. No, I'm gonna need a day to cool down. This is unbelievable.
The Muskegon Big Reds win the Division III state championship, and I got the chance to talk with senior dual threat passer Ladarius Jefferson about the victory, and also Branden Hunter of Michigan Preps. What does it mean finally getting up the schneid then to you and to your team in the state finals?
It mean a lot. Like I said, it mean a lot. It's something these boys been dreaming about. I kid you not. I told Eli Jackson, 44, that our 8th grade year we was gonna win it. We was gonna win it. We here. So it's a blessing.
Do you feel like you put your team on the back with scoring all the touchdowns in this game too?
I feel like they put me on their back. Without them, I don't do what I do. I don't have 2-something on the ground. I don't have 4 touchdowns. So without them, I'm nothing.
And here I am, Vito Chirco from the Detroit Sports Podcast Network with the great individual Branden Hunter from Michigan Preps and the Michigan Chronicle, covering the Pistons from the Michigan Chronicle. But it's a pleasure that you're gracing us with your presence here at Ford Field. And I wanted to recap this D3 state title game. Muskegon finally gets out the schneid, wins its first state title since 2008. And in 2008, it was against my alma mater, Warren De La Salle. So I know all about that game, but finally getting it done. What do you think this means for Muskegon?
I like what Jefferson said about the gun violence and the violence in Muskegon, and how this is not just for the football program or the team, but for the city as well. So obviously it's a great program, but they've been here a few years in a row and didn't break through, and they finally did this year. So I think it's a great win for the whole city for Muskegon.
Speaking of Ladarius Jefferson, really quick, all 4 touchdowns he scored for his squad in this Division III final against Farmington Hills Harrison. Final score 28-10. Describe his play and what kind of player he is in your opinion.
Best player in the state. I figured they got to that slow start, but once he got the rolling, you couldn't stop him. And we'll see what he's gonna do for college, and he can probably be a running back in college. And you can see he's a dynamic runner. Score all the 4 touchdowns. When he gets the ball, there's nothing you can do to stop him.
What's it like being here at Ford Field for you? Does it ever get old?
You know what? I've been doing it for like 5 years. It's the greatest thing ever to me. Is how I got my start. I love high school football. I love to see the kids win, crying, even agony. But it's a great feeling seeing these kids succeed at the highest level, even when they get done here. It's a great thing to see.
Branden, as I said, as people know, I think by now, you cover the Pistons, too, for the Michigan Chronicle. What do you think of the Pistons?
You know what? People say the Pistons are overachieving. I don't see it that way. I think they got a really good team. They got the best rebounder in the league in Andre Drummond. They got one of the best scorers in Tobias Harris and a great coach in Stan Van Gundy. And so we'll see as they go through the gauntlet. Got the Boston Celtics on Monday. So we'll see what they really are stacking in the East. And they're doing pretty good against the West. They're 6-1 against the West. So I think we got a pretty good team, definitely a playoff team. We'll see how far they can go.
So how can we follow B. Hunt on Twitter?
Yeah, follow me at B. Hunt. Just call me B. Hunt, JUSTCALLMEBHUNT. Just call me B. Hunt.
Branden Hunter, great stuff. That is all she wrote from Ford Field. I am Vito Chirco from the Detroit Sports Podcast Network, signing off. Adios.